Again, Gills fans, welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Monday review time as I look back on what was a phenomenal performance from everyone associated with Gillingham Football Club this past Saturday, taking on and going toe-to-toe with the mighty Sheff Wednesday, a team described by manager Neil Harris prior to kick-off as the Manchester City of League One. And like I say, boy did we stand up to them. 0-0, decent point in isolation, but could mean so much more to Gillingham moving forward into the final 7 games of the campaign, as it meant with results going our way elsewhere that we have, for the first time since November, managed to climb out of the Sky Bet League One relegation zone. Numbers and options were light again for Neil Harris, and it came as a little bit of surprise at 2 p.m. when the team news was announced that Ryan Jackson was fit and available. Remember, Jacko only came off injured last Saturday in that win at Doncaster Rovers, missed the midweek game against Charlton Athletic. A game where we also lost Robbie McKenzie to a quadricep problem, and he's going to be out for a few weeks. But it was great to see Jacko back in at right wing back. That Gillingham team in full. Aside from that, there was no real surprises. It was Aaron Chapman back in goal, having missed 2 through injury. Back 3 of Jack Tucker, Max Amart and Connor Masterson. Ryan Jackson at right wing back. David Tatonda from the left. Stuart O'Keefe partnering Ollie Lee in the middle of the park. Ben Thompson just in front, helping to support that top 2 of Dane Oliver and Charlie Kelman. The bench was made up of largely kids and inexperienced professionals, and we did only have 6 available due to injuries and suspension. But what a performance from Neil Harris's men. Straight away, we were on the front foot. We all know how we start games when we kick off. And we also had to deal with the fact that Barry Bannon turned us around and made us go towards the Rainham in first half, which I never enjoy. Long diagonal forward for Dane Oliver, won his flick. Chased it down himself. Ben Thompson was aware enough to get out of his way, and it was a bit of a scuff, but Dane Oliver showed good intent, get his shot away from the edge of the box that Bailey Peacock-Farrell had to save. And that set the tone. Sheff Wednesday have had loads of the ball. We knew they was going to do that. I think they had 72% overall. But it's what you do with it, isn't it? I know Darren Moore has come out after the game, the Sheff Wednesday manager, and said that they dominated proceedings. They didn't. It's ridiculous to come out and say that, having watched the game back and seen the highlights as well. Best chances came to Gills. Territorially, we were on top. Charlie Kelman, I thought, was very, very impressive, especially first half. Same as against Charlton on Tuesday. His movement was great. He kept pulling out to the left-hand side to create space for others, to allow the likes of Ben Thompson and Stuart O'Keefe to run in between gaps that his movement was creating. A couple of times he got down the left-hand side, then he was causing problems to their right wing-back, their right-sided centre-half. He had the next chance of the game though, didn't he? Stuart O'Keefe got himself into a decent position on the left and got it back onto his right foot and whipped a ball in. Charlie Kelman managed to peel off his man. Didn't quite get enough on it. His header drifted just wide of the far post. But again, it was good intent from Gills. We were pinning Sheff Wednesday back. We weren't allowing them to just get on the ball and dictate how the game was going to be played. They had passages, but they didn't threaten us at all first period. The next chance comes again. It's for Gillingham. Charlie Kelman does really well to get the ball out of his feet after David Tatonda's given it to him on the edge of the box. His shot is venomous enough. It's straight at Peacock-Farrell, who makes a good save, but he beats it out into a danger area for Dane Oliver, lurking. Ball just gets big on him, doesn't it? Bounces high, tennis ball bounce, and he has to try an acrobatic volley, which he kicks into the turf, and Bailey Peacock-Farrell manages to save fairly comfortably. But I thought it was no more than a half chance for Big V, under pressure, split second to make that decision. Only had one side of the goal to aim at. But it was a great performance first period. Like I say, Gills were on top. I think we surprised Sheff Wednesday. We was getting the ball down. We was playing through the lines. Not sure they expected that. And I think we caught them off guard a little bit. There was half calls for a red card, weren't there, midway through the period when Shay Dunkley pulled Charlie Kelman down on the edge of the box. But with the benefit of the highlights, I think the yellow card is the right decision. Unfortunately, Ollie Lee didn't make the most of the situation with a free kick from about 22 yards out. But all in all, at the break, really good performance. Everybody doing what they were told. Everyone knew their role. Everyone was fulfilling their role. And it had to be a case of more of the same second half. And more of the same is exactly what we got. Second period, we nearly scored inside 30 seconds in the first half. We nearly scored very early on in the second half as well. Charlie Kelman, that work rate again coming to the fore. Forced an error from the Sheff Wednesday centre-back. Managed to pinch it off him. Got his shot away. But you've got to give credit to Peacock-Farrell, who got out off his line really quick and managed to smother the shot before it could go past him and into the empty net at the Brian Moore stand, end of the ground. It was housing 3,500 Sheff Wednesday fans. But I think we done a great job in terms of the players and their performance and the Gills fans in keeping the Els fans quiet. And they didn't have a lot to cheer about, did they? Shortly after that, big stoppage in play though, and we were quite concerned for a little while for Dane Oliver. backtracking, trying to win a header, and as he span, Stuart O'Keefe was running right towards him. O'Keefe, the captain, come off worse. Seen the pictures since with a big cut under his eye. Stretcher was called, but he got up. A bit like Tyson Fury, I've seen a few mentioned on Twitter, when he was knocked out nearly by that punch off of Deontay Wilder in the first of that trilogy of fights. But he got up, he went through all the concussion protocol and was fit to continue, albeit with copious amounts of Vaseline and other substances trying to hold his face together. Didn't affect his performance. He was still absolutely superb after that. Barry Bannon, too good for this level. We know that. He started to get on the ball a little bit though, a bit more than I'd have liked midway through the period. And had one shot, didn't he? Sort of little curling effort with no bat lift that Aaron Chapman, I think, probably made harder than it should have been. That was the only real heart-in-mouth moment for me, though, defensively in the whole afternoon, apart from one right at the end, which we'll get to. But Chapman did enough. He got a hand on it. He went round the post for a corner. We defended that fairly well. But Bannon then got a cross in a little bit later that Chapman had to tip over for another corner. There was another curling effort that went over the top that hit the stanchion behind a Raynham in goal. We were standing up to them, though, weren't we? Said it so many times since Neil Harris has come in that we defend our box really well. We don't get turned round so that people are in behind us all the time. We stay in games, and that gives us an opportunity to pick up points. We might not win every match. We didn't yesterday, despite probably having more of the good chances. Sheffield Wednesday definitely had the best chance, and that fell to Lee Gregory about 10 minutes from time. Got away in the 6-yard box, didn't he? And his shot, for all the world, looked like it was going in. It had gone past Aaron Chapman, but Jack Tucker, superb awareness, heroically got back onto the line and cleared it. Ended up, I think, hurting himself in a tangle in the back of the goal net. But he'd done his job again. Something else that we probably wasn't seeing 6-7 weeks ago, a willingness to get hurt for the cause. And it was great to see. And then the big moment in injury time, and there was a lot of it, wasn't it? I think it was 6 minutes because of the clash of heads and all the substitutions that Sheffield Wednesday made. We didn't make any. It was almost like time slowed down for a little while. Stuart O'Keefe did brilliant on the halfway line, lofted ball over the top. Verdane Oliver's movement was spot on. He just peeled off his man, got in between the two centre halves, and he's away and he's running towards the Brian Moore stand. And you can see Peacock Farrell coming off his line. Doesn't know whether to stick or twist, to come out and try and get the ball. Stops Verdane Oliver outside of his right foot. Goes over the top of Bailey Peacock Farrell and drifts agonisingly wide of the far post. Would we have deserved it? I think so. I think we had the better chances. Peacock Farrell's had to make more saves than Aaron Chapman, albeit most of them are routine. Their big moment comes through Lee Gregory, like I say. And the only save that Aaron Chapman's really had to make is the one that he makes look more difficult than I think it actually is. But it wasn't to be. Sheffield Wednesday pick up a point in their quest to try and get in the playoffs. We pick up a point in our quest to stay in Sky Bet League One. But it was a really, really good performance all over the park. Like I've said, every single player in the black and blue of Gillingham knew their role and they carried out to a T. A really, really positive 0-0 draw. In terms of best Sheffield Wednesday player, it was a toss-up between two for me. The first one I thought of maybe giving this to was Bailey Peacock Farrell. He's made 2 or 3 decent saves. One is probably the one that keeps him in the game just after half-time when he comes out and smothers the Charlie Kelman shot after the defensive error from his centre half. But for me, it was Barry Bannon. Said plenty of times he's too good for this division. It's just very, very good at what he does, isn't he? And I thought, to be fair, from a Gills perspective, we kept him quiet on the whole, but he did have little spells. He was picking up pockets of space. He was getting onto that wand of the left foot. And for me, he was the only real player in a Sheffield Wednesday shirt out on pitch that looked like he was capable of making something happen. Looked like he was capable of stretching us and getting us out of our shape. I know Lee Gregory's had the best chance of the game, but for me, the only creative force I thought came through Bannon. He played 90 minutes, 3 accurate crosses, 5 key passes, 4 shots, one of which was on target that we've already spoken about that Aaron Chapman managed to get a hand on. And yeah, everyone else just seemed to be a much of a muchness for me in the middle of the park. Masumo Luongo, George Byers, they're all very tidy in possession, but Luongo often came to the edge of his own box to get possession, so where is he passing the ball? Byers did the same, and I just thought they was all a bit sideways and safe and a bit backwards with their passing other than Barry Bannon. So for me, outstanding Al was the Scottish international Barry Bannon. In terms of the Gills player ratings, a proper team performance. Absolutely everyone was spot on in everything that they did. Of course, it's League One. They're going to have little spells in the game where they're not quite at it. But if you'd asked for a team performance, that's exactly what we got yesterday from Neil Harris's 11. We didn't use any substitutes, such were the lack of options on the bench. We know Josh Chambers was stripped and ready at one point, but Stuart O'Keefe thankfully was okay to continue. So our ratings were Aaron Chapman, a solid 7, not overly worked, but did everything that he had to do fairly well. His kicking was a little bit off compared to recent weeks, but I'm not sure whether he's still hampered by that groin problem that he's just come back from. But for me, a solid 7. Centre-backs, immaculate. Saw off everything that they had to. Got to remember, this is a Sheffield Wednesday squad that started with Lee Gregory, Callum Patterson up front. They then brought on Saido Berahino. These are the options. Canberry came on as well, the bloke that scored in the reverse fixture back in November at Hillsborough. Embarrassment of riches compared to what we're working with. So for me, it was Connor Masterson and Jack Tucker, 7.5 each. But the pick of the centre-backs was Max Amar. Absolutely brilliant. Approaching 300 games now, so it was an 8 for Max from us. In terms of the wing-backs, we gave Ryan Jackson and David Tatonda a solid 7. They did try to get on when they could. Ryan Jackson was a threat with his throw-ins. Defensively, they were sound. But yeah, I think what they realised yesterday was that first and foremost, they was going to have to be solid in their defensive shape, and that's what they gave us. So maybe if they'd been able to get in more attacking areas, they might have got higher ratings. But for us, no problems with either. 7 for each of Ryan Jackson, David Tatonda. Middle of the park, Ollie Lee, for me, looked slightly off it first half. We've had this chat a million times. I don't think he's an orthodox centre midfielder. I think he's best played further forward. But second half, give him credit, was really, really good. Got at the heart of everything we was trying to do well. Was getting on the ball. One free kick, unfortunately, put over the bar first half. But second period, I thought was probably one of his best 45 minutes in the Gills shirt in recent weeks. So we gave him a 7. Stuart O'Keefe, Captain Marvel, played the last 35 minutes with blood pouring out under his eye. Had to keep getting treatment. Was absolutely everywhere. 8.5. Ben Thompson, boundless energy once more. Got his foot on the ball. Tried to make things happen. He's very aware, even when he doesn't touch the football, he can create space. He's got such good feet. He's very little, but he's got such good balance that he doesn't get knocked off the ball. He wins his fair share in the air as well. So it was a 7.5 for Ben Thompson. And it was great to hear the Tomo song ringing around the Rainham end on numerous occasions yesterday afternoon. Front pair, we gave 7 each for Dane Oliver and Charlie Kelman. Both worked the centre halves really well. Both showed good movement and good awareness. Both had a couple of half chances, didn't we? Charlie Kelman, that header, the one driven from the edge of the box. The one off the rebound that hit the keeper and come back out to him, and he had to have a snapshot. And then the one right at the end where he's trying to flick it over the keeper off balance, running away from the goal. A few people said to me Charlie Kelman should have got more. It's fair enough, like I say, it's all subjective. But yeah, I got 3 people that said they totally agreed with our match ratings yesterday, so woohoo. But yeah, like I've said, all in all, a really good team effort. Absolutely everyone who was out there put their bodies on the line, did everything that they was asked, and with a bit more luck, we could be sitting talking about 3 points rather than just 1. Terms of Gills' man of the match, it is pretty straightforward this week. I've said that Max Amar was really good and we gave him an 8. And in any other week, he probably would have been man of the match. But Stuart O'Keefe, back to his belligerent, battling, bolshy, boisterous self in recent weeks. Absolutely phenomenal effort for 90 minutes. Looked for all the world that he wasn't going to be able to continue. Like we said, we had stretcher bearers coming on. He didn't move for a little while. Thought maybe he'd been knocked out cold. And he sat up like the Undertaker, didn't he? The old WWE wrestler. Continued. All gunk over his eye, Vaseline and glue and all sorts. And was still having an influence on the game. Absolutely everywhere. 90 minutes played. 2 clearances. 1 interception. 3 tackles made. 1 shot on target. 2 key passes. 100% dribble completion. 88% of his duels won. It was a phenomenal display from the captain. And I tweeted yesterday, didn't I? Exactly the same. Fernandinho Keefe, that's the new nickname. Not sure it'll stick. But the main thing is, Stuart O'Keefe was fit to continue and he was comfortably Gills' man of the match. Right, that is pretty much it for this week's Monday review. Hope you've enjoyed listening to me reflecting on the points that got the Gills out of that relegation zone for the first time in about 4 months. All other results essentially went our way. Wimbledon, winless since December. They got beaten at Cheltenham despite leading with by a goal to nil with 10 minutes remaining. They went down 3-1. Fleetwood and Doncaster played out a 0-0 draw, which helps neither club. both in and around us. Morecambe, goal difference now worse than ours. They got whacked at Wigan Athletic by 4-1. So another productive weekend for the Gills. And a great response to that frustrating 1-0 defeat in the week to Charlton, where essentially we lost because of one poor bit of goalkeeping, one poor bit of defending where we switched off and allowed the shot to get away. Great response though. 2 weeks in a row now we'll be away from Kent, won't we? We go to Accrington Stanley next Saturday, and then the following weekend, trip to the Stadium of Light to take on Sunderland. If you've not been, make sure you do it. It's a phenomenal place to watch your football. After that, we play Wickham at home. Then we go to Cheltenham Good Friday. And then I'm feeling that the most pivotal game in the remaining 7, Fleetwood at home Easter Monday. But plenty of work to do between now and then. We get a full week on the training ground now, don't we? Hopefully the likes of Ben Reeves, Mustafa Carriol, Gerald Satoli can overcome those injury problems that have seen them miss the last couple. Dan Phillips will be back from suspension. Remains to be seen whether Dan is selected in the 11 after his misdemeanor against Bolton a couple of weekends ago. But it's another body and it's another option. Hope your week's not too stressful. Great point. Great to see us above the line. Be back Thursday for a match preview video looking ahead to Accrington Stanley. But until then, enjoy your week and up the Gills.